And right now it doesn't look like we're talking about that. I want to grab my phone. I'm probably just going to keep my phone in my pocket because it is a great source of information. Tornado warning for Limestone and Madison counties, and that's going to run until 6:30 this evening. So again, it looks like we're going to be focused here. Let's flip back over to a velocity product and see if I can find any sort of location. I would like to put a track on this. There's a track on this. Here we go. I'm going to move this list of cities and see if maybe you can't see it better. Athens within the next end, and my city list just updated. If you see your name, if you see the name of your city on the list, you probably need to be getting into your tornado safe place. This storm is moving somewhat rapidly, so it's going to continue to move to the northeast. Actually, I want to check just real quick and see exactly how fast this storm was moving. All of this information is really readily available on my phone. So it's moving to the northeast at about 45 or about 40 miles per hour. So I want to go ahead. I'm going to take off the arrows. Sometimes the arrows actually make it a little more difficult. I'm going to flip it over back to the radar product, and I'm going to attempt to put a track on this. How well I do putting a track on it has yet to be determined, but I'm going to at least attempt to put a track on this. It's moving at 40 miles per hour, moving off to the northeast. So Bethel within the next 15 minutes, Harvest within the next 18 minutes, and then we're getting into Center Grove, it looks like, over the next 24 minutes. So again, if you're in Bethel, you've got about 14 minutes. Harvest, there's probably a lot of folks up in Harvest this evening. It's going to take about another 17 minutes before this storm moves into your neck of the woods. But this is something we're going to pay really close attention to here over the next couple of minutes. Again, if you're just joining us, or if you've been joining us, you already know this information. But if you're just joining us, expecting your 6 o'clock show to start, which I believe would be the Big Bang Theory, you're not going to get the Big Bang Theory this evening. Instead, you're going to get me. We're talking about a tornado warning that is in effect for Limestone and Madison counties. It looks like that tornado warning is going to run until 6:30 this evening. Again, this is radar indicated Bethel in the next 14 minutes. We got 17 minutes until this storm moves into the Harvest neck of the woods. So if you're in Harvest, you still have plenty of time to get into your tornado safe place. You have 17 minutes, so there's time to get into your tornado safe place, but you need to be getting into your tornado safe place. This is a rather strong thunderstorm. We had a severe thunderstorm warning issued with it just a couple of minutes ago, and then literally less than 5 minutes after the severe thunderstorm warning was issued, we had the tornado warning that was issued. And of course, this corresponds with the forecast. I'm not surprised that we're finally seeing this activity kind of blossom now as it's beginning to move into the heart of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee, because it's been relatively quiet. There's been a fair amount of sunshine across Limestone, Madison, down into Morgan counties through a good chunk of the afternoon. So that area has had a little more time to destabilize. So storms have been on their best behavior, you might say, across northwest Alabama. And we are still certainly talking about some activity across northwest Alabama. But now these storms are moving into a slightly more unstable environment. And so they're beginning to ramp up a little bit more. Hence the reason we have the severe thunderstorm warning. And then, of course, we now have the corresponding tornado warning with it. And again, tornado warning going to be in effect for Limestone and Madison counties. That tornado warning is going to run until 6:30 this evening. We have no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. This is simply radar indicated, going to be in Harvest within the next 15 minutes, Center Grove within the next 22 minutes. So again, you still have time to prepare for this tornado warned storm.
I got something for you real quick, Jordan. Just go ahead and you can stay there for right now. I just want to spot out real quick that there has been a spotter report of a funnel cloud near the intersection of Pepper Road and Mooresville Road. This is going to be east of the Athens area.
So that is, again, that is a spotter report, like Emily was just saying, of a funnel cloud. So that's something we're certainly going to continue to pay attention to. And I wish I had a camera in northern Madison County. Unfortunately, I don't have any sort of a camera in northern Madison County to be able to put maybe better eyes on this storm. But it's something we're going to continue to pay attention to. I want to zoom in a little bit on this storm. No, I didn't want to do that. I want to go this way and then eventually zoom in on this storm. There's my box. No, there we go. There's my box. I want to zoom in on this storm. Let's head to northern Limestone County. We're getting into northern Madison County at this point. Storm's going to begin to leave Limestone County here within the next few minutes. I'm trying to take the zoom box off, or it's just going to keep zooming in. There we go. And then I want to move the radar in this general direction. I'm going to do that so we can get a better look at this storm. I want to flip it over to our shear rate again. Wind shear is a really good indicator of whether we're talking about something that is rotating or not. It's a change in wind speed and wind direction as we go up in height. I'm going to circle this. Now, this isn't the most impressive wind shear I've ever seen, but we are talking about an increase in wind shear nonetheless. It looks like this area of interest at this point is going to be just to the northeast of Athens. It looks like we're sitting just north of the highway. It looks like we're going to be north of Madison, so think of Highway 72 running here as Highway 72 goes into Athens. We're going to be talking about an area that is north of Highway 72, and as a matter of fact, we have the Limestone-Madison County border kind of running like that. Ignore my line. That was a terrible attempt at drawing a line, but kind of giving you a little bit of perspective as to where we are. Emily's holding her hand in the air, which could only possibly mean she has
I don't
something
want to
say.
interrupt because you are talking about important things, but if there's a possibility that we could swap over from links 2 to links 1, I do have an Athens cam that is pulled up from a bear, and there it is. So this is going to be looking at the intersection of Highway 72 and Interstate 65, kind of looking right at that storm.
So I imagine we would be focused on this area kind of out over the horizon. There's a couple of raindrops on the camera that are making it kind of hard to see, but I imagine we would be focusing here on this area off into the horizon. It doesn't look overly impressive right now, but this is still a really good view that I think we're going to continue to reference. I'm going to let Emily continue to watch this view for the next several minutes and kind of see if anything changes or evolves. We can switch it back over to the map if you will, please. Again, if you're just joining us this evening, we are watching a tornado warning in effect for Limestone and Madison counties. That tornado warning is going to run until 6:30 this evening. This is a live look kind of out over the Athens area, but again, if we have the opportunity, if we could switch it back over to the map view, go away from the camera and head back over to the map. Thank you so much. An increase in wind shear, and again, wind shear is a change in wind speed and wind direction as you go up in altitude. Now, a little while ago, Emily was mentioning spotter reports of a potential funnel cloud. Again, that's not confirmed. That is a spotter report of a potential funnel cloud. And if I'm looking at our radar products properly, and I'm fairly confident that I am, I would say that there is no confirmed tornado on the ground just yet. I'm looking at a product that would show us rather distinctly abnormalities that would indicate some sort of inanimate object that is flying through the air, and I don't see that showing up just yet. The rotation honestly does not look overly impressive within this storm. If anything, we're talking about some very gusty winds, but nonetheless, we are talking about a tornado warning that is in effect for Limestone and Madison counties. That tornado warning is going to run until 6:30 this evening. So it's just about 5 after 6, right around 6:06. So we're going to continue to talk about the tornado warning that is in effect until 6:30 this evening. This is radar indicated. We have no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. The rotation really does not look all that impressive. If anything, we do have a little bit of wind shear, and maybe that wind shear is increasing just a little bit. It looks like as the radar scans kind of continue to update, it looks like maybe that wind shear is becoming a little more impressive. So that's something we're going to continue to monitor and something we're going to continue to pay attention to. You notice the little bits of green here kind of trailing off beyond Athens, crossing Highway 72. Storm does have a history of producing a little bit of hail, but I think this is going to be the secondary concern right now, just because we are talking about the tornado warning. Storm is moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Trying to select my button there, and it's not letting me. There we go. There's the button I wanted to pick. Storm moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. We're going to go ahead and attempt to put a track on it. This looks like it's been our area of interest. Going to slide this to the northeast and attempt to go out 40 miles per hour. So at this point, harvest within the next 7 minutes. We're looking at Center Grove within the next 15 minutes. Now, if this storm holds together, it looks like it would actually make it into the Meridianville, Hazel Green area. Now, normally what ends up happening is storms either A, move through Meridianville, or B, they move through Hazel Green. While there's not a lot of distance between Meridianville and Hazel Green, there's usually enough distance that a storm does not move through both Meridianville and Hazel Green. It ends up being one or the other. So again, harvest within the next 6 minutes, Center Grove within the next 14 minutes, and then Meridianville 22 minutes, Hazel Green 23 minutes. But I have a feeling it's going to end up being one or the other, because that's just typically how storms end up acting across northern Madison County, is either A, they go through Meridianville, or B, they end up going through Hazel Green. They never actually end up going through both, just given the few miles of distance that is between Meridianville and Hazel Green. So this is a storm we're going to continue to watch. It's a storm we're going to continue to pay attention to closely here over the next several minutes. It's something that we're going to continue to monitor as the storm eventually does move towards 231 north. Now, the good thing about this is that most places of business, and of course the schools let out early today and canceled their evening plans, so I don't anticipate that there's actually a lot of traffic on 231 north. Normally I would anticipate a lot of traffic, and I think that would be a bigger concern, as we are just after 6 o'clock in the evening. But considering most activities were canceled this evening and a lot of places let out of school early and a lot of places closed their businesses early today, I don't really foresee traffic being an issue on 231 north. Still, it's something we're going to continue to pay attention to as we eventually draw closer towards the highway. So harvest within the next 5 minutes. We've got Hazel Green and Meridianville within the next 21 and 22 minutes, respectively. But again, I believe the storm is probably going to either go through Meridianville or it's going to go through Hazel Green. Now again, the rotation, while there on a velocity image, it's not the strongest rotation I've ever seen. This is radar indicated. We have no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground, though we did have a report of a developing funnel cloud from a storm spotter. So that's obviously something we want to take very seriously and something that we are going to continue to pay attention to. But as of right now, we have no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. What it looks like we have are potentially some very gusty winds. I want to check that. Wind gusts up to 37 miles per hour. So winds are beginning to gust just a little bit, 37 miles per hour. At the same time, we also are talking about a fair amount of heavy rain. We're not really looking at a lot of lightning within this storm, which is actually something I find to be somewhat interesting, is that we're not talking about a lot of lightning, but we are talking about a lot of very heavy rain. Again, we're talking about a storm that is moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So we can go ahead and put a track on this. It looks like we're still sitting in far northeastern Limestone County. Let's continue to put a track on this, take it out 40 miles an hour. One more. No, I went a little too far. So let's go out 40 miles per hour, taking it out just a bit too far. And there we go, close enough. Okay, so we have Hazel Green in the next 22 minutes, and then we're getting into Bellevue. Of course, this is all pending the storm holds together. A lot of this is going to be beyond the life of the tornado warning. Actually, the Hazel Green one in the next 21 minutes, it is about 6:12. So actually, by the time the storm makes it to Meridianville, Hazel Green area, the tornado warning would have expired. So I guess at this point, it's just a matter of can this storm hold itself together over the next several minutes? And again, we have nothing that is confirmed on the ground. I want to be very clear about that. This is simply a radar indicated tornado warning. We have no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. And based on different radar products that I've seen, I have no indication that a tornado is actually on the ground. Our correlation coefficient product isn't showing me anything that would lead me to believe that we have debris flying through the air. Now, we have seen some areas of increased wind shear here, as noted by the brighter greens. Northern Limestone County slowly beginning to pull into northern Madison County. And we're talking real far northern Limestone and Madison County. Again, here's 231 north. Here's the Huntsville metro area. Madison is practically at the bottom of your screen, which means Highway 72 is also at the bottom of your screen. As a matter of fact, here's Highway 72. Only a small sliver of Highway 72 was actually included in both the tornado warning and the severe thunderstorm warning. So we're talking about an area that is far northern Madison County and far northern Limestone County. Again, it looks like this storm is going to travel up to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So this storm does have a little bit of speed to it and eventually head up towards the Hazel Green area, eventually crossing 231 north. And then I would anticipate it heading up into southern Middle Tennessee. Back to the radar we go. Again, we're talking about some very, very heavy rain. The good news about this time of year is that it's not dark outside yet. So you can still kind of see what's going on. We've talked about this once, twice, and a million times. When it's dark outside, it gets incredibly hard to be able to see and to be able to observe your surroundings. If you can see and observe your surroundings from a safe location, preferably inside, that could prove to be your benefit. But of course, we are still talking about some very heavy rain, which of course could make things very difficult to see if there was actually a tornado on the ground. And I'm fairly confident that right now, I don't think there is a tornado on the ground. It looks like the rotation is semi-weak. I just don't see anything that would lead me to believe that a tornado is on the ground. But it does look like we are going to continue the tornado warning. That tornado warning is going to run until 6:30 this evening. Just want to give you a look at the entire Tennessee Valley just real quick, and then we'll go back to the tornado warning. We're still talking about showers and thunderstorms back across northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin County. Some pockets of very heavy rain across Colbert County and then heading down into Franklin County across Russellville, south of Florence. We're talking about some pockets of very heavy rain. No severe weather back across northwest Alabama, so that's certainly some good news. For our friends across northeast Alabama, they're actually relatively quiet, maybe picking up on a little bit of rain, but that's about it. So the only bit of severe weather we actually have is the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Limestone and Madison counties. That's going to run until 6:30. And then we also have the tornado warning that is in effect for both Limestone and Madison counties, and that is also going to run until 6:30 this evening. Again, this is radar indicated. We have no confirmed reports of anything on the ground, but this is certainly something we're going to continue to pay attention to here over the next several minutes. It looks like at this point, let me move my map around a little bit, kind of reposition ourselves and make ourselves much more centered. It looks like this storm is getting very, very close to moving out of Limestone County. Limestone County certainly not in the clear just yet. Here's the Limestone-Madison County border. That's actually kind of easy to see, the straight black line there. It looks like this storm might slide even to the north of Hazel Green, so that's something I want to pay attention to as well. At one point, it looked like maybe this storm was going to move through or kind of go in between Meridianville and Hazel Green, but at this point, I would say it looks like this storm is probably going to move to the north of Hazel Green. And again, if I look at our rotation products, our velocity imagery here, I'm not seeing any really strong rotation. If I'm looking at anything, I'm looking at some areas of increased wind shear. And that's a really good indicator that we are at least talking about a thunderstorm that is rotating to some degree, as indicated there by some of the brighter greens. Again, wind shear is a change in wind speed and, more importantly, wind direction as you go up in altitude. And when you get that change in wind direction as you go up in altitude, that is a really good and kind of an obvious sign that we are talking about a storm that is at the very least rotating. But again, if I look at our other radar products, I'm not really led to believe that we're talking about a tornado on the ground. Now, is that to say one couldn't show up? One could certainly show up. We're obviously talking about a tornado-warned storm, which means a tornado is possible. And we did have a spotter report of a funnel cloud on the ground about 15 or so minutes ago. So again, there is the potential for a tornado to develop. This storm also does have a history of producing a little bit of hail all the way back into Athens, and now as we're beginning to creep up into Madison County, it looks like this storm does have a history of producing a little bit of hail. So if you are in Meridianville, if you are in Hazel Green, you need to be in your tornado safe place. And then when you do hear a little bit of extra noise, bear in mind that obviously you're going to be hearing the wind for one, but at the same time, you're also probably going to be hearing the sound of a little bit of hail. We're also talking about some pockets of very heavy rain thrown into the mix, as indicated by some of the darker reds, and getting into the, you can see it there, the little blip of the bright purple. Now, this is in direct correlation to the tornado watch that is in effect for almost all of North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We are excluding our friends over in Northeast Alabama. Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties are not included in the tornado watch. Neither is Coleman County in North Alabama. So this area, Madison County, Limestone County, is sitting under a tornado watch. Then we, of course, have the tornado warning as thunderstorms have moved into a slightly more unstable air mass. Now, maybe it's taken a little longer for this activity to really get itself going and to develop, but of course, it has developed as we've gotten into the later part of the afternoon and now as we've gotten into the early part of the evening. And that would be in direct correlation to when our atmosphere is at its most unstable. And folks across Madison County, Limestone County, down into Morgan County, those folks did get a fair amount of sunshine through the course of the afternoon, and of course it was incredibly humid. And if you've lived here for any prolonged period of time, you know that when it is sunny and humid on days when we're talking about the threat of severe weather, that typically means we're talking about a more unstable air mass, and we're talking about an environment that would be conducive for tornadic development. I want to go back over and look at our velocity product, and for the time being, I don't see anything that would lead me to believe we're talking about any sort of significant rotation. If I look at both velocity and then our storm relative velocity, I'm not really seeing anything that would point to any signs of true distinct rotation. The only thing that's really given it away that we've got some solid rotation, at least within the storm, and again, as you go up in altitude. So you talk about the storm as kind of this vertical growing thing. There is a little bit of rotation within that storm, as indicated by an area of increased wind shear. And it looks like the strongest part of this storm probably going to slide at this point to the north of Hazel Green, and probably very soon going to be across the Alabama-Tennessee state line. It'll just be a couple of more minutes now at this point for this storm to cross 231 north. So at this point, I actually think Limestone County is probably in the clear. They haven't been dropped from the tornado warning just yet, but I would go ahead and assume that Limestone County is probably in the clear, as it looks like the strongest part of this storm has moved out of their area. As a matter of fact, it looks like the strongest part of this storm is again kind of sliding to the north of Hazel Green in northern Madison County. It has not yet crossed Highway 231, at least it doesn't appear that this storm has crossed Highway 231 just yet, but it does look like it is going to slide to the north of Hazel Green and then head up into southern Middle Tennessee. And I want to go ahead and check our velocity products just one more time. And again, I don't see any real clear signs of rotation. The only clear sign of rotation I continue to get out of this is the wind shear here. That brighter green does indicate some areas of increased wind shear. Again, Hazel Green, and then points to the north. Now, this area was actually hit by a tornado just last year. So we're going to continue to pay attention to this area. Still have about 8 more minutes left on the tornado warning. Tornado warning does run until 6:30. Emily?
Yeah, I just want to give you a quick update of what I've kind of been reading behind the scenes in the Slack channel. The only damage reports that we've gotten so far are just trees down, which honestly, I could have seen this go either way despite us having a tornado warning. I could have seen it with the damaging wind gust potential that we had today, so I'm really not surprised about that. But the only things that we have so far are trees down on a few power lines around Elm Street and Elkton Road. We've got a tree down on Copeland and in Mooresville, and it looks like we've got trees reported down in Athens City. Now, the National Weather Service, they did tell us that if the storm continues to maintain its current strength that we've got right now, the plan is they're going to downstream a severe thunderstorm warning for this, and they are going to let the tornado warning expire around 6:30.
Fantastic information, and certainly a little bit of good news there. So again, like Emily just said, if the storm maintains its current strength, or maybe the better phrase even would be kind of the lack thereof, then they would switch out the tornado warning and go for a severe thunderstorm warning at 6:30. And again, we're talking about a severe thunderstorm warning, but at least we're not talking about a tornado warning. And that's certainly a little bit of good news. Emily was telling us that there's a number of power outages. I would anticipate most of those power outages are northern Limestone County and northern Madison County. And then she was mentioning that a number of trees have been knocked over as well. If we look at our shear rate, it looks like this storm is continuing to weaken just a little bit. The area of wind shear really doesn't look all that impressive anymore. Maybe some of the brighter greens there, but this area does not look overly impressive anymore. But we are still talking about some pockets of very heavy rain, and regardless of how strong this storm is, we are still looking at a very strong storm. Maybe they're going to let the tornado warning expire at 6:30, but we are still looking at a very strong thunderstorm that has also had a history of producing a little bit of hail, and you can kind of see a little bit of hail if you look back through the storm's history, Madison County, and then back into Limestone County, northern Athens, and then if we head back across northwest Alabama, these storms kind of have a northeast trajectory to them. So I would anticipate that as this storm heads up into southern Middle Tennessee here over the next several minutes, that we would continue with the threat of seeing some very gusty winds and a little bit of hail thrown into the mix as well. So something we're going to continue to pay attention to. We might not be on TV too terribly much longer. I might send you back to local programming here in just a few minutes, but this is still a storm that Emily and I are going to continue to watch very closely here over the next several minutes. And we're going to continue to watch this entire line of showers and thunderstorms, as I do think there is the chance that this activity could continue to creep into an environment that is maybe a little more conducive for the development of severe weather. Again, storms have kind of been on the milder side once they've moved into northwest Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin County. But then they moved into Limestone County. They moved into Madison County. They moved into an area that is a little more conducive for the development of severe weather, right? We moved these storms into an area that received a little more sunshine through the course of the afternoon. It was, of course, incredibly humid today, so we were allowed to destabilize a little bit, especially across Limestone and Madison County. So we're going to continue to watch these storms as they move through over the next several minutes. I thought I hit my zoom button. Apparently I did not. There's my zoom button. Nope, still didn't hit the zoom button. There it is. So let's zoom back in on our tornado warning. Again, tornado warning in effect for Limestone and Madison counties. This is going to be in effect for the next couple of minutes. It's set to expire at 6:30, so we've got just about another 3 minutes here on the tornado warning. Again, tornado warning in effect for Madison and Limestone counties. That's going to run until 6:30 this evening. So just another couple of minutes here on this tornado warning. I want to go over, and I was trying to make this go away, but I can't. There it is. And I want to go over, and I kind of want to switch products, and I want to show you something else. Just real quick here, I need to switch computers and change the view that I wanted to show you. You probably just saw a blip of black for a second. That's okay. That's me doing that. Nothing is breaking. I want to show you the tornado watch. I haven't been able to show you the tornado watch here over the last several minutes. A tornado watch in effect for everybody except Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties in northeast Alabama, and then it also does not include Coleman County. Tornado watch does include much of North Alabama, and then the tornado warning also includes our friends up across southern Middle Tennessee. And again, this is associated with a rather robust line of showers and thunderstorms that's currently moving through the Tennessee Valley ahead of a cold front. Now, we talked a little bit during the 5:30 newscast. If you were able to tune into that, on the backside of this cold front is going to be a much colder air mass, and you're definitely going to notice that by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So let's zoom in on this storm here just for a couple of more minutes at least. I always want to stick with you until the tornado warning expires, and the tornado warning does not officially expire until 6:30. And I hit the wrong button, so we're going to do this, and then we're going to re-zoom in on the tornado warning.
Looks like they are going to issue another tornado warning. This does include Franklin, Lincoln, Madison. So the only areas of our concern here are going to be Lincoln County and Madison County.
Okay, so some new information there from Emily. It looks like the tornado warning is going to continue. As a matter of fact, it looks like it is going to continue until 7 o'clock this evening. Lincoln County in Tennessee, and then of course northern Madison County. And this does directly include Hazel Green. So if you are in Hazel Green, you need to be getting into your tornado safe place. Brand new tornado warning just issued. This is going to be for Madison County. That tornado warning is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. So again, brand new tornado warning in effect for Madison County and then some of our friends up across southern Middle Tennessee. That tornado warning is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. So something we're certainly going to continue to pay attention to here over the next several minutes is, of course, the National Weather Service has deemed it appropriate to continue this tornado warning. Tornado warning going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. It does include Madison County in North Alabama, and that it also includes Lincoln County up across southern Middle Tennessee. So I want to zoom this out just a little bit. I don't really enjoy how far in it actually zoomed. And I'm going to zoom it back in, don't worry. But I just wanted to zoom out and get a better view. And then I wanted to zoom right back in on this storm. There we go. That's the view I really wanted to look at. Now let's see if I can keep this here without messing it up. So brand new tornado warning has been issued for Madison County in North Alabama, and then we have Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee. This is not Franklin County in North Alabama. This is Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee, and then this tornado warning also includes Lincoln County up in southern Middle Tennessee. And it looks like this tornado warning is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. I want to look at our velocity image, and then I want to go over and look at our shear rate. And it looks like we're talking about this area literally right over Hazel Green. It looks like this storm is getting ready to cross Highway 231. It looks like we're going to be focused on this area that is barely just to the west of Hazel Green. So, new tornado warning in effect. If you're just now tuning in expecting to see the 6:30 episode of The Big Bang Theory, you're not going to get the 6:30 episode of The Big Bang Theory. It'll be streaming somewhere. You can go watch it there. Instead, you're getting me. We're talking about a tornado warning. Tornado warning in effect for northern Madison County. That's going to run until 7 o'clock this evening at the same time. We also have a tornado warning in effect for Franklin County in southern Middle Tennessee, and then Lincoln County up in southern Middle Tennessee. Both of those tornado warnings, it's the same tornado warning, are going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. We have no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. This is simply radar indicated. There's definitely been enough to seemingly continue the tornado warning. And again, it looks like we're going to be talking about this area just barely to the west of Hazel Green. So if you're in Hazel Green, you really need to be getting into your tornado safe place. Storm looks like it's getting ready to cross Highway 231. I want to check just real quick and see if this storm is still moving at the same speed of 40 miles per hour. Previously, this storm was, and it is still moving at 40 miles per hour. And then the only other note there is that funnel clouds have been previously reported with this storm. So it's something we're going to continue to watch. I want to attempt, keyword here, attempt to put a track on this storm. And we're just going to, wait, there we go. And so what we're going to do is attempt, there we go, to just kind of run it from Hazel Green. We're going to follow kind of the length of the tornado warning here. And of course, we're going to end up getting some areas that are up in southern Middle Tennessee. So Flintville over the next 18 minutes. Again, a lot of these locations are going to end up being up across southern Middle Tennessee. Storm moving at 40 miles per hour. Storms do have a history of moving to the northeast. They have a history of producing a little bit of hail, and it looks like that's going to continue to be the case with this storm. And again, it looks like we're focusing on an area that is probably just to the north of Hazel Green. The rotation really does not look all that impressive to me. If anything, we're probably talking about some incredibly gusty winds, and then our shear profile has been such that there has been a fair amount of wind shear within these thunderstorms. So storms that are certainly capable of rotating based on the wind shear located within these storms. So that's something that we're going to continue to pay attention to here over the next several minutes. I hit the wrong button and went back, but that's okay. We can still cover the tornado watch in effect for almost the entire Tennessee Valley. We are excluding our friends over in northeast Alabama. Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties not included in the tornado watch, and then Coleman County not included in the tornado watch. Now the tornado warned storm is moving to the northeast, so it is going to bypass Jackson County. So at this point, if you are in Jackson County, I would say you're probably in the clear from the current tornado warned storm, because it does look like it is moving to the northeast and would eventually move up into southern Middle Tennessee. I don't think this storm would actually end up having an impact on the Tennessee Valley, but I just want to go real quick. And we do have the severe thunderstorm warning back across northeast Mississippi. Now, this storm could end up clipping far northwestern Lauderdale County, so that's something we're going to want to pay attention to. But at this point, this storm is also moving to the northeast, so I think this storm might also head up into southern Middle Tennessee, and this storm back here with the severe thunderstorm warning that butts right up to the Alabama-Mississippi line. I think this storm is probably going to end up going to the north, but maybe it'll clip just enough of Lauderdale County that they'll end up going maybe with the same severe thunderstorm warning for Lauderdale County. Back home across North Alabama, we are talking about the tornado warned storm, tornado warning in effect for Madison County. That is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. We also have a tornado warning in effect for Lincoln County. up across southern Middle Tennessee. That is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. It is the exact same tornado warning. So this is something we're going to continue to pay very close attention to here over the next several minutes. Again, this storm does have a history of at least producing a couple of different funnel clouds. So that's something that I want to be mindful of, and that's something I want to be cognizant of as we continue to track these storms as they move eventually out of North Alabama and kind of begin to move up into southern Middle Tennessee through Lincoln and then through Franklin County. Let's go ahead and look at our velocity products. Again, not really seeing anything that I would believe to be really impressive rotation. The one thing that has been rather consistent through the life of this storm has been the wind shear. And again, wind shear is a change primarily in wind speed and wind direction. That's important. Wind direction as you go up in altitude. And that is the one feature that has been really consistent with this storm. And it looks like our area of greatest wind shear is kind of hanging out across far northern Madison County at this point, beginning to push up into southern Middle Tennessee. And the wind shear isn't even looking all that great. It looks like our radar scan just updated here just a couple of seconds ago, and it looks like the wind shear also might have backed off a little bit. But the wind shear is the one thing that has maintained a level of consistency through the life of this storm. And then we are talking about some reasonable lightning as well. We're not talking about a lot of lightning, but the lightning that is there is definitely on the more powerful end of the spectrum, and we are probably talking about a little bit of cloud-to-ground lightning. So that's something we also want to be cognizant of. That's something we want to be mindful of and continue to pay attention to. Obviously, you don't want to be going outside, especially when we're talking about not only a tornado-warned storm, but at the same time, we're also talking about a storm that could be producing a little bit of cloud-to-ground lightning. I want to go back and look at some of our different radar products. And again, if there was anything on the ground, I would expect some abnormalities within this product that would give me some sort of indication that we're talking about any sort of debris that is being flung through the air, and that's just simply not something I'm seeing. Now, at the same time, and we've been talking about this for a little bit, this storm does have a history of producing, I didn't mean to do that. This storm does have a history of producing a little bit of hail all the way back into Limestone County, down around the Tennessee River, when this storm first really began to increase its strength. So this storm does have a history of producing a little bit of hail, so that's something we want to be mindful of. And then this storm does have a history of, at the very least, producing funnel clouds. Now, we have no confirmed reports that there was a tornado on the ground, which is certainly some good news. But funnel clouds have been reported within this storm, so that's something that we're going to continue to pay attention to here over the next couple of minutes as these storms continue to push through North Alabama and eventually up into southern Middle Tennessee. So if you're just joining us this evening, we do have a tornado warning that is in effect for northern Madison County, and this is far northern Madison County. It is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. Tornado warning also in effect for Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee. This is not Franklin County in North Alabama. This is Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee. And then at the same time, we also have the same tornado warning that is in effect for Lincoln County, also up in southern Middle Tennessee. We have no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. The rotation really is not looking all that impressive in my opinion, but the rotation has not been looking all that impressive through the life of this storm. The one thing that has been consistent is the increased areas of wind shear. And again, wind shear is really important. If you've been watching me for a prolonged period of time, you know that wind shear products are probably my favorite products. And we are looking at an area of increased wind shear as indicated by the by the pocket of brighter green here, just to the north of Hazel Green. And again, it looks like the bulk of this storm is beginning to move up into southern Middle Tennessee. So I believe that before long, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they end up allowing the tornado warning for northern Madison County to expire maybe a little bit early, and then maintain the tornado warning for Lincoln County, especially up in southern Middle Tennessee. We're only including a very small portion of Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee. Most of this storm is going to be for northern Madison County and then Lincoln County. So something we're going to continue to pay attention to here over the next several minutes. The tornado warning is in effect until 7 o'clock this evening, so we are going to be with you for at least that long. But this storm actually does look a little weaker at this point than it was even just a few minutes ago. And I certainly believe that that is a little bit of good news there, that this storm does look like it is weakening. But again, tornado warning in effect for Madison County and North Alabama, and then Franklin and Lincoln counties up in southern Middle Tennessee until 7 o'clock this evening. This is radar indicated. We have no confirmed reports that a tornado is or was on the ground, but this storm does have a history of producing funnel clouds. So that's something we obviously want to continue to pay attention to and be mindful of, as again, the storm does have a history of producing funnel clouds. So there is always the chance that we could end up getting a tornado. While we might not have a tornado right now, there is a chance that we could have one in the near future as this storm continues to move to the northeast. At this point, this storm is almost completely cleared North Alabama. It looks like this storm is crossing the Alabama-Tennessee state line. The bulk of the storm at this point looks like it's hanging out up across southern Middle Tennessee. Now, we've been talking for a couple of days how I didn't really think flooding was going to be a major concern. And if we look at our accumulated precipitation, now this is over the last 3 hours, but you kind of get the idea. We're not really talking about a storm that is going to be conducive for a lot of flooding, a ½ inch to an inch of rain. But I also want you to be mindful of the fact that these are rainfall totals over the last 3 hours. So I don't think major flooding is going to be a concern across the Tennessee Valley, even within these storms. These storms are moving somewhat quickly. They are moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So the storms aren't going to hang around very long. So there's really not going to be a lot of time for these storms to dump a lot of rain. Let's zoom things out. Look at the Tennessee Valley as a whole. We're going to kind of reset just a little bit. The bulk of the activity hanging out across the northern half of the Tennessee Valley, north of the Tennessee River, across northern Limestone County, getting back across northwest Alabama, and then, of course, northern Madison County, and then a lot of this activity hanging out and continuing to move up into southern Middle Tennessee. As a matter of fact, all of this activity is moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. I want to switch back over to the Columbus radar product. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I made it disappear. And I wanted to look at this storm here. Again, this storm probably moving to the northeast as well. It might end up clipping northern Lauderdale County, but it would be far northwestern Lauderdale County. Otherwise, we are dry this evening back across northwest Alabama. So, showers and thunderstorms moving through North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, obviously packing quite a bit of a punch. We are talking about the severe thunderstorm. Well, we're not talking about the severe thunderstorm warning. That was a while ago. We're talking about the tornado warning in effect for northern Madison County, and then we're also talking about the same tornado warning in effect for Lincoln and Franklin counties up across southern Middle Tennessee. But at this point, it looks like most, if not all of this storm has moved up into southern Middle Tennessee. And I'm still not seeing anything that would really indicate solid rotation within this storm. It still looks like the only consistent feature we have is a fair amount of wind shear. It looks like we're going to continue the tornado warning for Franklin, Lincoln, and Madison County. We're also including Moore County up in southern Middle Tennessee. So, tornado warning in effect for Madison County. That's going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. And then, of course, we have Franklin and Lincoln counties up in southern Middle Tennessee. And then kind of out of our area would be Moore County up in southern Middle Tennessee. So this storm quickly moving out of our area. Folks in Fayetteville, you're not really included in the tornado warning, so I think you're fine. If you are in your tornado safe place, I think you're probably fine to leave. Looks like this storm is sitting to the south of Fayetteville, and that's based on our wind shear product here. Again, not really seeing anything that would indicate clear defined rotation, maybe more rotation on a broader scale as the storm moves up into southern Middle Tennessee. It looks like the bulk of this storm has moved out of North Alabama. Now, it is important to note, of course, that the tornado watch is in effect for both Giles and Lincoln counties up in southern Middle Tennessee, and then it would include Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee as well. So these storms moving in to southern Middle Tennessee are certainly moving into an area that is conducive for the development of tornadic activity. So tornado watch in effect, that's going to run until 9 o'clock this evening. So we're going to watch this mass of showers and thunderstorms, but then we're also going to watch this area of showers and thunderstorms that's hanging out across northeast Mississippi. That's something we're going to continue to pay really close attention to as that activity also begins to slide to the northeast. But for the time being, we have our tornado warning, not severe thunderstorm warning. The severe thunderstorm warning is back across northeast Mississippi. We have the tornado warning that is in effect for Madison County in North Alabama, and then Lincoln and Franklin counties up across southern Middle Tennessee. It actually looks like, in my opinion, it kind of looks like this storm is weakening just a little bit. It's really not looking all that impressive. Let me make sure I'm looking at the correct radar product. There we go. I was looking at the wrong radar product. Still, the storm does not look as impressive as it did a half hour or 45 minutes ago. I'm still not seeing any real clear defined areas of rotation. Again, and I've said this a couple of different times now, the one significant feature that we have had is the area of wind shear. And wind shear is a really good indicator that we are, in fact, talking about something that is rotating. These storms do also have a history of producing funnel clouds. Now, I haven't seen any reports, and I imagine Emily hasn't seen any reports over the last several minutes that any more funnel clouds have been spotted. Now, it's not even yet 7 o'clock, so it is, of course, obviously still daylight outside as the sun has not set. So if we were to see a funnel cloud, I would think that it would be somewhat easy to see. But we're going to continue to watch the area of increased wind shear just because it's been the one consistent feature within these storms to provide some sort of likelihood that these storms are rotating. So something I want to continue to pay attention to and something that I want to continue to watch over the next several minutes. Otherwise, to me, it actually looks like the rotation is quite broad within these storms. And at this point, it looks like the bulk of, if not all of the energy has moved out of North Alabama. And it looks like the bulk of this activity is hanging out up across southern Middle Tennessee. So if you're just joining us, first and foremost, good evening. You're probably anticipating the end of the Big Bang Theory, but we are talking about a tornado warned storm that is in northern Madison County, primarily up across southern Middle Tennessee. Tornado warning that is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. So something we're going to continue to pay attention to, something we're going to continue to be mindful of here for the next several minutes. And I want to zoom things out and again, kind of look at the entire Tennessee Valley as a whole as we continue to watch showers and thunderstorms move through our neck of one crossing. Oh, okay. So I want to continue to pay attention to these storms here over the next several minutes. Again, tornado warning in effect for northern Madison County and then our friends up across southern Middle Tennessee, both Lincoln and Franklin counties up across southern Middle Tennessee. It looks like this storm is going to come with the tornado warning, and that is going to run until 7 o'clock this evening. Again, the rotation there doesn't look that great, but the one indicator that we've had that there is even a little bit of rotation is the fact that we've been talking about an area of increased wind shear, and actually it looks like the wind shear may have actually picked up a little bit across southern Middle Tennessee. This would be Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee, and you can kind of see how we're getting into the brighter greens, getting into the darker red there. That is indicating that we're actually talking about some pretty serious wind shear at this point. So I want to see if maybe this also coincides with our velocity image, and I would have to say that it does not necessarily coincide with the velocity image. But we have seen an increase in wind shear, and again, wind shear is a change in wind speed and wind direction as we go up in altitude, which is then a really good indicator that we're talking about something that is rotating. So it's right around 6:54. Tornado warning is going to be in effect for, about another 6 minutes or so, probably more like 5.5 minutes for northern Madison County, and then Lincoln and Franklin counties up in southern Middle Tennessee. And I'm waiting to see, I guess at this point, what the National Weather Service is going to choose to do with this storm. Now, while it doesn't look overly impressive, if one looks at our velocity image, it does look semi-impressive when you look at our shear rate. Again, some of the brighter green getting into the darker red there would indicate an area of increased wind shear, and that wind shear is the change in wind speed, and then you really want to pay attention to the change in wind direction as you go up in altitude, because that is a really good indicator that we're at least talking about a storm that is rotating vertically. So that's why wind shear is really a fantastic tool to use. Now, there's not a lot of lightning within these storms, and I do think that's a little bit of good news, because lightning could be an indicator of strength. When you get an uptick in the amount of lightning, that would typically lead to a strengthening storm. So I don't see a whole lot of lightning, which is definitely a good thing. And again, our velocity image is not looking really all that impressive. The one thing, and this has been consistent through the life of this storm, is the area of increased wind shear. So that's something we're going to continue to watch. It's something we're going to continue to pay attention to here over the next few minutes. Have not yet heard what the National Weather Service here in Huntsville plans to do about this storm. Okay. So, have not yet heard what the National Weather Service office here in Huntsville plans to do with this storm as we get ready to approach the 7 o'clock hour. It's 6:56 and just beyond 30 seconds, so just about 6:57. So we have about another 3 minutes left on this storm, and it looks like it might be strengthening just a little bit. The darker reds, some of the brighter purples there on our radar imagery would lead me to believe that this storm might be strengthening just a little bit. The wind shear continues to look a little more impressive. We're to the west of Huntland. We're in Lincoln County, up in southern Middle Tennessee. As a matter of fact, if you're in Franklin County for the time being, you need to be in your tornado safe place, but Emily says, Emily is texting me now. If we can, Emily, would you like links 1 or links 2?
Let's do links 1.
If we could switch over to links 1, Emily says she has a video for me to show of a funnel cloud. So we're going to go back over to what we would primarily use. There we go. Emily has this video of a funnel cloud developing. Now, Emily, where did you, I'll just let you talk about this, Emily.
Yeah, so this is from Regina Kyle. This particular funnel cloud that you see right here is from the earlier tornado warned storm that we saw move through around Elkmont. So this is going to be from Piney, Elkmont area, and I'm just going to play so you can kind of see that lowering the funnel cloud that we have right here. You know, it's not a confirmed tornado unless it does hit the ground, but as we mentioned earlier, we did see reports of funnel clouds. We actually saw a couple of reports of confirmed funnel clouds move through. Now we just also got some new information. I'm going to go back to, you can keep it on here, but I'm going to go over to my show real quick because it does look like they did extend the tornado watch. This is going to be until 2 a.m. for Jackson, DeKalb, Marshall, and Coleman counties. The rest of us will expire at 9. Once again, Coleman, Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties will be under a tornado watch until around 2 a.m. So this is starting to extend more eastward, and I want to show the regional radar as well because we are going to be tracking a secondary line that is currently moving through northeastern Mississippi. Only seeing so far severe thunderstorm warnings from it, but that's all that we're seeing so far. No tornado warnings out of that storm. The only tornado warning that we have currently is in Lincoln County in Tennessee, and of course that northern portion of Madison County.
So they are going to go ahead and issue a, if we could we go back over? Yes, thank you so much. We are going to continue with a new tornado warning for Lincoln County up in southern Middle Tennessee, and that is going to run until 7:30 this evening. So brand new tornado warning for Lincoln County up in southern Middle Tennessee, and it looks like that is going to run until 7:30 this evening. And again, this is radar indicated. It actually looks like this storm has strengthened a little bit here over the last 10 or 15 minutes. It's not going to be in Lincoln County very long. So I also want to take just a second to recap some of the information Emily had, and a lot of that was very key information. The one thing she really mentioned was the increasing in time, or the increasing in coverage area of the tornado watch for Jackson, DeKalb, Marshall counties, and Coleman County. So at this point, the entire Tennessee Valley is now under that tornado watch. Previously, it didn't include Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties. It didn't include Coleman County. But now the entire Tennessee Valley is going to be under that tornado watch. And for how long did you say it runs for Northeast Alabama, Emily?
That's going to be till 2 a.m.
So the tornado watch for Jackson, DeKalb, and Marshall counties is going to run until 2 o'clock in the morning. Everybody else, it's still going to run until 9 o'clock tonight. So we go back off to the west. We're looking at the severe thunderstorm warning back across northeast Mississippi. Now, if you have, and it looks like somebody just sent me a picture, and I'm going to go ahead and ask if I can get the phone number put below me. If you have any weather reports or weather photos to pass along, I would greatly appreciate that. Obviously, you can always go to my Facebook page, Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman, but I would also appreciate it if you would text me. Yes, you can literally text me your weather photos. So very quickly, your photos would end up in my pocket, and that number is 256-382 2692. And it looks like somebody did text me, so I will either get Emily or a member of our digital staff to have a look at that photo and see if it's something. I'll let Emily decide if it's something that we can get on TV, but I would love it if you would text me your weather photos. Again, that number is 256-382-2692. And yes, you can text me your weather photos. You can text me your storm reports. It's incredibly handy, and I would greatly appreciate it. My thing does not, there it is. Okay, so I know it's working, but it was not wanting, there we go. My thing was not wanting to move like I was telling it to. I need to flip radar products here. It looks like we're looking, there we go. So, tornado warning in effect for Lincoln County. That's going to be until 7:30 this evening. So, tornado warning in effect for Lincoln County. That's going to run until 7:30 this evening. And again, if you have any sort of storm reports or anything like that or photos you can share, please text those to me. The number's right there on your screen. 256-382-2692. Thank you all so much for getting that number up. I really appreciate it. Again, you can text me your weather photos. You can text me your storm reports. Obviously, you can go to my Facebook page as well. Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. That's always a great place to get me things, but I can also get them in the hands of Emily as well quite quickly. If you'll just text me your weather photos, 256-382-2692. So, tornado warning in effect for Lincoln County up in southern Middle Tennessee. This is going to run until 7:30 this evening. Let me attempt to move this out of the way a little bit. So, tornado warning in effect for Lincoln County up in southern Middle Tennessee. That is going to run until 7:30 this evening. We also have the tornado warning, the same tornado warning, as a matter of fact, in effect for Franklin County up in southern Middle Tennessee. It is important to note that this is not Franklin County in North Alabama, but Franklin County up across southern Middle Tennessee. And we're focused on this storm here. Let's look at some different radar products. Again, the rotation really not looking all that impressive. But the one thing that has remained somewhat impressive through the life of this storm has been the wind shear. And it looks a little more impressive now, and it has looked a little more impressive over the last 15 or 20 minutes than it has through the entire life of this storm. And at this point, we've been following this storm since about 5:50 or so, when this tornado warning was originally issued for Limestone and Madison County. So now we're continuing to follow this storm as it moves up through southern Middle Tennessee. It looks like we're very quickly going to move through Lincoln County. I'm getting some other photos. Y'all are really quick with the whole texting thing. Y'all do not waste any time, and I greatly appreciate that. So it looks like we're getting some photos out of Hartselle, maybe even a couple of videos. Getting some photos out of Harvest. So those are all things that we're going to look at, and I want to see those. Obviously, I really need those, and I rely